The club's history began in 1883 when several residents living around Tranquility Square leased the land from the colonial government and established the Tranquility Square Lawn Tennis Club. The lease was later extended and remains valid today. In the 1880s, the club was used more for croquet than tennis and had just one grass tennis court. The square itself functioned as a playground for members' children, and the police band played on a regular basis. By the turn of the century, tennis had become quite a popular sporting activity. Tranquility later boasted of 3 gravel tennis courts and 2 croquet lawns, the latter of which were soon phased out to make room for more tennis courts. In 1912, the first National Open Tennis Championships were held at the Tranquility Club. Players from other clubs across the country, as far as San Fernando and Princestown, were invited to participate. These open tennis tournaments were probably the most important contribution that Tranquility has made to local tennis over the years. Since 1912, the club has hosted an open championship every year, with the exception of the period during the 2 world wars and the recent COVID epidemic. In 2023, the club hosted the 105th version of the tournament. Quite an achievement. The Open Championships was soon followed by other tournaments such as the Merchants Cup and other regional matches against players from the Caribbean such as Barbados, Jamaica, Grenada and Guyana. In the 1930s, the Organization of Tennis in Trinidad took a big step forward with the establishment of the Northern and Southern Lawn Tennis Associations. Yet many would have considered lawn tennis as a privileged sport at that time. Today, thankfully, the sport of lawn tennis has become accessible to a much wider section of our society, and the game and those who play have benefited tremendously. In 1949, the Commonwealth Caribbean Lawn Tennis Association was formed, in no small part due to the efforts of Tranquility members devoted to the game of tennis. This later led towards Caribbean participation in the worldwide Davis Cup competition. The Caribbean was finally accepted in 1953, and the West Indies met the USA in our first Davis Cup tie, which was held in Jamaica. In 1988, the West Indian territories were approved to play as independent countries in the Davis Cup. In 1957, one of our members, Alan Price, represented Trinidad and Tobago at Junior Wimbledon and was accompanied by another member, René de Labastide, on an England summer tennis tour sponsored by Dunlop. Alan was not the only member to play in Junior Wimbledon, however, as 21 years later, Beverly Corby repeated the feat twice, participating in 1978 and 1979. Alan also did the club and country proud when, in the 1962 Central American and Caribbean Games, he won Trinidad and Tobago's only gold medal at the Games that year for tennis singles, and a bronze medal in the doubles. Between 1964 and 1966, the Tranquility Club was selected to host a leg of the Florida Caribbean Circuit, which featured the top tennis players in the world at the time. Grand Slam champions such as Margaret Court, John Newcombe, Tony Roche, and Roy Emerson graced our courts to the delight of local tennis fans. The premier regional tennis tournament, the Brandon Trophy, was a significant event in the tennis calendar between 1953 and 1992 and was hosted several times at Tranquility, including in 1972 when Trinidad and Tobago triumphed thanks to playing members Alan Price, Michael Valdez, Peter Valdez and Lindy Price. In succeeding years, the club was used as a venue for developing youngsters with regular coaching events under the tutelage of stalwarts like Alan Price, Rainey Delavastide, Jean Merry and Beverly Corby, as well as hosting many national junior tennis tournaments. Several top juniors benefited from these programs. In 2014, the club also hosted a tennis introduction program for students from local community primary schools. Over the years, the club has provided access to many national players who started as juniors and have gone on to represent the country in global team competitions such as the Davis Cup and Federation Cup tournaments. Names such as Alan Price, the Valdez brothers, Jean Merry, Beverly Corby, Liz Gibson and Shane Stone come to mind. But the Tranquility Square Lawn Tennis Club history has not only been about tennis. Over the past 140 years, the club has provided an environment for fans of the game to socialize and make new friends on afternoons and at special events such as carnival and Christmas parties and the popular team tennis competition. These were all made possible through the hard work and passion of social events committees up until the present day. The club has been blessed with many extraordinary long-standing members who contributed in no small way to the recognition and success of the organization. Some of these members will be celebrated at the 140-year anniversary event. With the continued support of our dedicated volunteer committees and sponsors, together with a commitment to our youth players, there's no doubt that the Tranquility Lawn Tennis Club will continue to provide a vibrant social environment while playing a significant role in the development of the sport of lawn tennis in Trinidad and Tobago for many years to come.